Hello and welcome to the Jameela Adams Experience. I'm your host, Jameela Adams, and on this podcast we discuss lifestyle tips for business women age 40 plus and talk about how they're changing the world. From careers to family and everything in between, I want you to be inspired, be inspiring, be encouraged, and be encouraging. But most of all, I want you to join in the experience. Let's get started. Hey everyone, thank you for tuning into this week's episode. Honestly, I did not know if I had the mental bandwidth to record today's podcast. The last few days, I've had incredible highs and terrible lows. I was happy and excited one minute and ugly crying the next. It was that bad. My pendulum was swinging so far and so hard it was crazy. It was ridiculous, to be honest. As you know, family is very important to me. I enjoy seeing my sons grow and mature into productive citizens. My youngest passed his driver's test and got his license. I'm so excited. Yeah, but he's going to be on the road. So anyway, that's another story. Anyway, he said, other than turning 18, this was the most proudest moment in his life. I was happy to share this achievement with him. He had been practicing for weeks and he finally did it. Side note, out of my 3 sons, he's the only one I've had the opportunity to go through this whole process with. So it's kind of exciting, I'm just happy for him. Anyway, we were ecstatic and we celebrated this monumentous occasion by going to our favorite Mexican restaurant. Honestly, what keeps me going other than their tacos is their humongous margarita. Love that place. Anyway, so that was the high of the day. However, that feeling of jubilation didn't last long. I received a call from my oldest son saying that my 9-month-old granddaughter was hospitalized because she had difficulty breathing. The anguish in his voice brought tears to my eyes. I felt helpless, but I knew I had to pull myself together in order to get to them soon. Anyway, I arrived to the hospital, walked in the room, and I saw the medical staff, hovering over her, working on her. And it just seemed so surreal. I just stood there in disbelief. I knew it was serious. Anyway, I settled in. I talked with my son and his girlfriend, kissed them, and we just sat down and just was mesmerized by what was all taking place. My granddaughter was hospitalized for 5 days. 4 of it was spent in the PICU, the Pediatric Intensive Care Unit, due to RSV, or respiratory syncytial virus. This caused her to have pneumonia. To see her struggling to breathe was just heartbreaking. So I was just like, wow, what is happening? What I've learned is that infants and older people are really susceptible to RSV. And unfortunately, some people do pass because of it, because their lung capacity is just cut short. Anyway, so on Mother's Day, I got the perfect gift. My granddaughter was released from the hospital. During that time, like I said, it was very hard to watch her struggle to breathe, but I also had to keep calm, not only for myself, but for my son and his girlfriend during this whole process. Just talking with them and trying to let them know everything is going to be okay. So during that time, I had to dig deep into my spirituality and remember everything I learned growing up in the faith. I remember one time I was sick as a child and my parents were there, and there were people from the church praying over me as well. So when things like that occurs, we always pull together in our faith. So I, put out a message with my networking friends and say, I'm in need of prayer. My granddaughter is being admitted into the hospital. So everybody was sitting at prayers, and it's a great feeling to have everyone with you in one accord. So after that, I rest assured that God was in control. Was I scared? Yes. Honestly, I was, But I knew by the grace of God, my granddaughter will be healed. And honestly, she's back to her feisty self. So I know prayer works. So that was the high point of Mother's Day. The other part, honestly, I had an aha moment. Like I said, family is important to me. Being a mom, being a nana is important to me. But I'm also a daughter. So I had an aha moment with my mom. And I said to her, I get it. I get it now. Being a mom is challenging. And while she was at the table, we were listening to the Winans, and just, you could feel the power, the faith. You could feel it moving through us. And my mom was sitting there with tears streaming down her face. And she was like, I'm thankful for my children, my children's children, my children's children's children. And when I was a kid, whenever I heard my mom or my grandmother say that, I had no idea what they were talking about. I was just like, children's children, what are you talking about? But now that I'm an adult, I get it. Especially now that I'm a mom, I get it more. Because you put so much hope, you put so much into raising your children to be productive adults. But when they get sick or they get hurt or even in trouble, you have to fall back on your faith. And that's what I did. And that's when I said to my mom, before I left, I hugged her, I held her hand, I kissed her on the cheek and said, I get it. Thank you for being who you are. Thank you. And I meant it. And it seemed like every possible negative thing that could have been done between the two of us, because mothers and daughters, we clash. I'm not going to sit here and say it's all roses and butterflies and rainbows. It's not. It's the highs and the lows of having a relationship with your children. But I get it. And it was very poignant that last week. Anyway, so that's what happened with me. And I hope that your Mother's Day was good too. I know mine turned out to be pretty nice. Anyway, so I want to thank you for listening to this week's episode, and to let you know I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you who take the time out to listen. So don't forget to subscribe and tell a friend about it too. So just remember this. Be inspired, be inspiring, be encouraged, be encouraging, but most of all, be you. Take care, and I will chat with you next week.